Imagine feeling under siege in your own home, afraid to leave because the people next door have already broken into one home and they may be targeting yours next.
This is the problem facing thousands of people in the valley as squatters are taking over homes left empty by the housing market implosion. Tonight, we'll show you what it's like for one neighborhood. And despite a new Nevada law giving Metro the power to remove squatters, it seems very little is getting done. A Friday night and several men carrying flashlights clean a pool in an upscale Northwest neighborhood. What you're watching appears to be squatters settling in for the long haul in their new catch. 5464 Sierra Brook Court, a home that's been a problem for neighbors ever since its owners walked away.
We sleep with one eye open, which is really sad.
The home has turned into a revolving door of squatters. And when an alarm indicated someone had broken into the home March 5th, it didn't take long to realize what was happening. Neighbors grabbed their phones and took pictures and video of the unfamiliar men standing in front of the house. Then came a white van and box truck with graffiti on its side, with men unloading mattress after mattress.
Why do you need like 15 mattresses? You didn't have like a bunch of people sleeping on the floor.
Brenda Flank and her neighbors figure there are at least 17 people squatting inside the 7,000 square foot home, the fourth group of squatters to move in the past 2 years.
I'm up till 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, pacing, looking out these side windows and turning lights on, and it's crazy.
We made several attempts to make contact with the squatters. We called the number on the no trespassing signs. A man calling himself Nana I Am called back to tell us, quote, "We are not interested in making this public." We're still curious about the intentions of these squatters, so we decided to pay a visit to the home.
There was music and there were people inside and they vamoosed.
The Clark County Assessor's website lists U.S. Bank as the true owner of the property, but that isn't deterring these squatters from setting down roots. Unlike their predecessors, this current group of squatters made it known they weren't going anywhere anytime soon. They filed this 100-page lawsuit suing the bank that owns the home and the real estate company trying to sell it for $21 million. We ran the lawsuit by Phil Silvestri, a Las Vegas attorney who represents banks and investors trying to evict squatters from their properties.
As far as lawsuits go, it's pretty bold, isn't it?
It absolutely is. You know, it's the first one that I've seen that says that they wanted to adversely possess the property, especially when they just moved in.
And they want $20 million to boot.
Yeah, that one's actually not all that strange. But
it's not.
No, you know, we see outlandish demands in pretty much all of these cases.
Victoria Seaman was one of 15 state lawmakers who sponsored Assembly Bill 386, which gives Metro the authority to go after squatters.
It gives Metro the authority to at least investigate.
And have they?
Well, they have, but now there's just a little hiccup.
A hiccup that has allowed the squatters to remain in their home on Sierra Brook, because the fact is, police are not actively enforcing the new law. Metro tells us investigations are largely on hold as manpower is reallocated to more violent crimes. So, in the Northeast, where Brenda Flank and her neighbors live, there are only 2 detectives assigned to investigate squatter homes.
But are a couple of officers enough to deal with this problem?
I don't think so, but because I think it's a huge problem.
Seaman says she'll continue to push Metro to enforce the new law. In the meantime, back on Sierra Brook Court, children squeal with delight at the squatter home. They and their parents enjoying an $800,000 house that would be far from the reach of most Nevadans. And Brenda Flank continues to keep an eye on her unwanted neighbors, and it appears one of them is keeping an eye on Brenda's home.
The guy says to my husband, nice house you got. Really?
The dark epilogue of Nevada's housing bust playing out in this 8-home cul-de-sac and possibly coming to an empty house near you. The banks and the realty company named in the lawsuit have all filed motions to be removed from the suit, but a judge has yet to make a ruling on that. There are a lot of fingers being pointed here. Brenda's neighbors blame the banks for not properly securing the home. Brenda blames NV Energy for turning on power to people who should not be at the home. The utility told us, as a matter of practice, it doesn't deny energy to anyone with the credit to pay for it. As for the squatters, this is not their first attempt to file a lawsuit to take over a home. For more on that, click on our web extra at fox5vegas.com.
I think that was really the most shocking part of your story to me, is that not only are they illegally in this home, but they filed a lawsuit. So on what basis, though?
You heard Phil mention it, allude to it, adverse possession. That's a real estate law concept that allows you to take property that's been abandoned, and if you can occupy it in Nevada adversely for a period of 5 years, then maybe you have legal standing to the property. These squatters have only been in this home for 6 or 7 weeks, so obviously banks are going to intervene. Banks are going to fight this. This is an $800,000 home, and they also have to pay taxes on that property as well to occupy it. So it's a significant tax bill on that house, and you can bet the banks are going to fight this in court to protect their own investment. At least the neighbors hope so.
Right, and it is so complicated. That's why you have that web extra online.
A Fox 5 follow-up for you now. Last night, we reported on a Northwest neighborhood dealing with squatters who took over an $800,000 home. Tonight, one of those neighbors made her case to Metro that something needs to be done.
So we have to be very careful about how we go into somebody's home and say, you don't live here.
But it's not their home. My situation, and you guys know you've been up there 4 times to get people out. People are committing crimes to get in those homes. They are breaking and entering. Is that no longer a crime?
That's what I don't understand.
I don't understand.
It actually is.
Brenda Flank at tonight's First Tuesday meeting in the Northwest Area Command. She told officers and others there that squatters could just as easily take over a home in their neighborhood. That's the home they're squatting in, by the way. A Metro captain told Flank that it's not just as simple as throwing squatters out of a house, that there needs to be an investigation done. And in the case of Brenda's squatter neighbors, they filed a $21 million lawsuit against the bank that owns the home, and police say that complicates things.
In her case, it's a little bit more convoluted and a little bit more high tech. They decided to sue the bank. That slows our investigation down.
Do you think you've turned the corner?
I'm hoping, I'm very hopeful that we have, because I'm feeling this situation, even though we've had 3 other sets of squatters, this situation seems to be more dangerous because there's so many people in that house. And I'm literally afraid.
Metro did tell Flank that the squatter home next to hers is now a top priority. Neighbors tell Fox 5 they believe as many as 17 squatters have taken up residence inside the home. We will continue to follow the story.